Coach Boers, first things first, these are fun,
Yeah.
right? Do you like the environment we have here?
Oh, it's tremendous. I think, we did a great job, and not necessarily me by any means, but everyone who was part of putting this on. And obviously Chardon in the past has done a great job. So I think even talking to some of the kids afterwards right now, they're very thankful they had an opportunity to come and cheer the wrestlers on. I know the wrestlers, were very appreciative of having that. And, I think it's pretty cool for Chardon, too, to be in front of a hostile environment and have to compete and get through. So, yeah, this is tremendous. Pumped that our administration allowed this to happen.
And you are a Chardon, that is where you are a hilltopper. Are you 92? What are you?
Yeah, 92 grad.
I guessed that. You know that. You got to know I just guessed that.
That's good, man.
Okay.
That's impressive.
Total guess. But you're a Chardon guy. You're from there. You know the tradition that they have in wrestling, which is they've had NCAA finalists.
Yep.
They've had one of the all-time greatest wrestlers in America. Lee Camp is from Chardon. So you know the tradition of Chardon. Football, though. You're the head football coach here. First things first, 7 all-state selections, 4 first team for the Beavers. Congratulations as a coach. And I know that probably means more to you if what I know about you is that 7 all-staters is more important to you than being the coach of the year last year for the district. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a testament to these guys, their hard work and everything that they have taken very seriously now. And that's what's so awesome about it, because that just doesn't happen, or we just didn't have this influx of just tremendous talent. You got to be good, but good can often get in the way of being great. And these guys didn't let that happen. They developed themselves and put the time in the offseason, the weight room, and leadership, and they developed themselves, and it's awesome to see. It's a testament to just everything going on around here. Far bigger than me, but and again, a lot of these guys are multi-sport guys. I'm sure we'll get to that in a second. Some of them, and it's just what they do. It's just the mindset of being part of Riverside community right now.
You're putting guys into Division I football teams, which you kind of always done, spotty, but
sure.
Multiple this year, right? You got guys. I walk the hallway and I see NFL frames in the hallway.
Right.
Would you agree with that statement? We got guys who can play big time Division I football here,
right? And
we got people that can go on to the NFL. Is that am I out kicking my coverage on that statement?
No, I don't think so. And obviously, we're definitely very humble and realize that that's still an extreme percentage of guys that actually do that. But you're right, in terms of like a template, in terms of being a possibility, like that never was even a possibility of being talked about before. Now you've got schools like USC, Washington, Ohio State, Michigan State, like roaming the hallways, talking to our kids, looking at our kids, and you have signees, from your Kent States to Dayton's to Mount Unions to Butlers and all that stuff. It's tremendous. It's tremendous.
I was walking by some guy one day with a purple jumpsuit in the hallway. I'm like, who's this guy with the gold and purple jump? What's this guy doing here? Who's a Washington Husky recruiter, right?
Exactly.
And we had a guy that committed there originally, and then he decommitted, and now he's going to Ohio State, right?
Correct.
And it's Domkirk, right?
It's Domkirk.
Right, and then you have Antonio Botici. Your defensive line is 2 D1 guys.
Right.
A Power 5 guy and a MAC guy.
Right.
How do you do that?
Just very fortunate, obviously. It's Don came to us his senior year, and Antonio just continued to develop. And it's funny because Antonio's always been, like, I think in everyone's mind, wrestling for sure. Football is something he did on the side. Then his junior year 2 seasons ago started evolving and developing. And I remember we were talking to him during a practice one day after I think Akron came in. And Akron just like, we really like this guy, coach, what do you think and whatnot. And so I was out there to practice one day. I said, Antonio, I know you're a wrestler. I don't want to overstep that and make you even confused about future. I said, would you ever consider football? Like, is that something you would even, because guys, think highly of you as they should. And he's just like, yeah, I'd consider it. They just keep talking to me and they keep throwing stuff my way. And boom, here we go. So get a hold of recruiters right back and say, yeah, this guy's name is on the list. Put him on and do what you got to do with them. And one thing, led to another for him.
4 first-teamers in D2 Ohio, not easy to do. How do you do that? You had your quarterback, a receiver, a linebacker, and a D lineman, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then you had 3 other guys that were your third team, or second, third, or honorable mention, right?
Right.
How do you do that?
again, I have a great coaching staff. Obviously, these kids come from great families. They work their tails off. I mean, it's not one single magic formula or answer that I have for you. I mean, it's a combination. Obviously, God-given talent's got to be there, initially as well, but they got to develop it. And it's just kind of, I think, holistically, just something that means something now. It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. When we used to be, speaking of Chardon, one of the things with Chardon, when we used to be there, we always would say is you knew you had a program when the youth in the community, when they're outside playing their front yards with each other, they're referencing the high school players by name as who they want to be. Like, here I am, as opposed to I am Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or whatnot. They're referencing the high school players. Like, that's who they're looking up to. We've got that at Riverside now. You've got all the youth, and they aspire to be these older guys. These older guys, are connected with them. Our youth coaches, middle school coaches do a great job. So, I know I'm kind of rambling, but it's definitely a holistic thing. It's not one thing or one day. And obviously you're going to have ebbs and flows in public school. It'll be ebbs and flows, and so it's not always going to be, like it is this specific year, the past couple of years. We recognize that, but it's always going to be trending in the upward direction. So it's awesome.
Division II football in Ohio is probably the toughest of the division's ever been.
Yeah.
Right? You guys are in the Hoban region.
Yeah.
I don't like to call it the Hoban region, but
sure,
it's Region 5, right?
Yeah.
And there have been the Kings in D2 for, they got beat by Central Catholic last year, Toledo.
Right.
And then this past year, obviously, the all-time greatest 7-2. I don't know if that's an all-time great.
Sure.
But, Massillon finally wins. It's a historic year, right?
Yep.
Anything change about your regional game with them if you're on the other side of the bracket and you meet them in the regional final as opposed to the semi? Hoban, great game with them. You battled them.
Right.
You gave up a turnover to start the game, right?
Yeah.
But that game you battled with one of the best teams in the country in Ohio. What do you change, and how do you guys jump levels to get to that program and start beating the Hobans and roll with them?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. And I don't think, again, it's one single thing. I think the first thing we had to do is get in that game. I was so pumped even going into it, regardless of outcome, because we finally got to play those guys. Because it is Hoban's region until somebody knocks them off. And they've been knocked off, through the state championship, but they've not been knocked off, in the region necessarily. Massillon was in the region. That was the only other time they got knocked off. So it's been Hoban or bust. And really it's just getting your guys used to it. Now we have 8 more months to reference that game, to reference what, Hoban did well, and not even schematically, but from a physical standpoint and just, their speed and their athleticism, and that's kind of the focus now all off season is just getting bigger, faster, and stronger. And the kids know it and realize that, iron sharpens iron, and we were a big believer in that, and us, working our tails off. It's funny, some of the best teams that we've gone against in the past, even if we've been on the short end of things, like that's driven us to make us better. And I think any great team and program will say the same thing. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, it's you play the games, and that's why we create the schedule that we created, to be in those big games and not shy away. I've never had a goal of being 10-0 because I almost feel like that's disrespectful to your opponents and whatnot. But the goal always is to get better every week and learn from things, and that's what our guys have done, our coaching staff has done. So things are going okay around here.
Are all the 7 guys who are on the all-state teams gone?
I believe so.
All the four first-teamers are.
Yeah, right.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's huge, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge clearing out.
It is. Oh, yeah.
What do you do? How do you reload?
Well, you just said it. You'd hope things are set up in the infrastructure of the program now to reload as opposed to rebuilding. Guys have waited their turn. Guys have seen what it takes from guys before them. Guys that have been maybe a second or third team in our program have gone against those first teamers in practice. So they've, again, the iron sharpens iron. They've gotten better based on just going against, guys that have gone against, I just saw Antonio, Botigi walk by me. Guys that have gone against Antonio every day in practice for the past year or two, they've gotten better, significantly better. And now you multiply that by your 7 all-state guys who are, unfortunately are losing, but guys are ready to step up.
The Wes Wonderleys of the world.
Bingo.
Right? That's
Bingo.
a guy, he's got to be the guy next year.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That guy's not the guy. Then,
Right. Exactly.
He's got to be the guy.
Exactly. And there's plenty of those guys. And I always say, too, that we do, kind of talk to our guys in the off season, doing interviews and things individually. One of the biggest things, too, is just saying, I can't tell you how many stories you've got of guys that maybe were okay, but just took that opportunity and stepped up and became one of those All-Ohio guys. I mean, because you look at the All-Ohio guys, how many of them were repeat All-Ohio guys? Like, that's the next thing. And the answer is not necessarily a bunch of them. So what's that say? That says these guys stepped up and now became the next level guy, as opposed to just always being that guy for the past 2 or 3 years. Like, no, they continue to get better, and now, the pinnacle of their careers was All-State.
But now they get to go and play Division 1, 2,
Bingo.
3 football.
Bingo.
Last thing, Antonio Batigi. He's the wrestling guy. We could talk about we could talk about Mikey Maloney and
Sure.
all. They're great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sam, your linebacker,
Absolutely.
Salmon and Wright. Like you got guys, right? But this is wrestling, so
Yeah.
how important has that guy been, and what have you seen of Antonio? Everybody, he's a freak. He's big. He's big. He's muscular.
Yep.
Maybe he's not. That's all. That guy's worked for all that.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who lifts 6 days a week.
Yep.
Eats 5,000 to 8,000 calories a day.
Yep.
Doesn't put any junk in his body.
Yep.
He's disciplined. Drinks 2 gallons of water. Whatever's right about
Yeah.
what he looks like is
Yeah.
what he's doing.
There's no doubt. I mean, you even talk to his parents, we've talked to a lot recently with recruiting and different things, and those are the stories that they'll tell you. I mean, he takes it very seriously, and his approach and mentality, and it's funny because he doesn't say a whole lot. I mean, I know we laugh about that and whatever, and if we can get him to smile, once a week at practice, like that's a win for us in our mind in terms of, but he's, he's a tremendous young man. But again, it's just a testament, you're right, of doing everything well. It's funny, I got a quote from Saban, it just kind of came through. I don't have the quote memorized, but essentially, and this isn't anything new, but when you want to be great, it's not difficult choice-wise, because there's not a lot of choices. I mean, you don't have 3,000 things you got to decide between. It's literally, here's the path. You just got to choose to do that, and that's Antonio's epitome of that, where he just chooses to do those things, and look what's going on. And each year, he's grown leaps and bounds. Everyone thinks, oh my gosh, this guy's just a freak, whatever. But no, he's developed, and he's taken major steps, and he had a little bit of an injury, bug earlier in his career, and he's worked through that, and the mental toughness that he's developed over the past handful of years that I've just personally seen is, and again, it's nothing to do with me individually, but it's been awesome, just his growth, and he's just watching him out there now. I mean, he's just, all due respect to Chardon's guy, but he's just doing his thing. So we're hoping he's on the podium, man. Like that's the expectation, and he will have earned that if that indeed does happen.
It just came up. He's probably going to do 2 D1 sports. Kent State wants him on the wrestling team.
Yep.
He's on the football team.
Yep.
Can the guy do 2 D1 sports? Is he that focused?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's kind of a rare breed, but if anybody is, it's him. He's not caught up. You're not going to hear about him going to a lot of parties and getting distracted. I mean, he's got his goals in front of him, and he's pretty even keel. And it's amazing because it's a testament to who he is that both those coaches have already communicated with each other, the wrestling and the football coach at Kent State, and just said, hey, listen, we'll share this guy. And that's how special this guy is. We're willing to share him. And we were talking to the wrestling coach, and the wrestling coach is like, listen, I don't have to see him for the first X amount of weeks of the wrestling season. Let him recover from football, do what he has. Let's get him in time for the MAC tournament and nationals, and we'll go from there. And obviously, it's just a testament to him, and it's awesome. It's an awesome story about working your tail off and being committed to something, and then good things happen. The cream rises to the top. So it's just the way it should be, man.
I know you got a lot going on. You got guys to train. You got things to do. You got anything else for me?
No, man. Just thanks for what you do. This is great, and what a great atmosphere in the sport of wrestling is it's a special one, man. It's unique, and I definitely can see how wrestling from a football coach standpoint, how these wrestlers, any wrestler that I've gotten, and quite frankly, for the past 27 years of my coaching career, I started the great St. Peter Chanel and their wrestling program and football team, and wrestlers bring a lot of positive things to your program and team, and obviously to our society, man. They're disciplined, they're tough, they're regimented. So thanks for what you do, and as coaches do, and it's awesome.
Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck to you guys.
Absolutely, thank you.